Hello. Let's see. Uh, Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. My name's Lauren, and hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Sorry. My name's Lauren, and I recently joined Hardex and to be a part of the marketing and community efforts. Very excited to be here. Last week, we released Label Studio 1.5.0. And just want to thank everyone in the community for giving feedback, contributing to the release. Today, Nikolai is going to walk through some of the key features of 1.5.0, and then we're going to take some questions. Max is also going to join us for questions as well. Along the way, you can put your questions in the YouTube chat, and we'll see them, and then I will move that over for Nikolai and Max to help answer. I also wanted to share we are producing some Label Studio swag that we would love to send to all of you who have been participating and contributing. And so I will put a form into the chat, a Google form, to add your address and information if you are interested in receiving some swag. So awesome. I'm going to add a different video of Nikolai because he had frozen for 1 second. But Nikolai, I will pass it over to you if you want to share your screen as well.
Sure. Let me do it quickly.
Awesome.
Let me know if you're able to see it.
There you go. Should be all set.
Looks like I don't hear anything, so
are you having trouble with your audio right now, or are folks hearing us?
Okay, yeah, now looks good. Okay. So let me start with just presenting you what's the latest addition to the 1.5. And just let me know if there is some trouble with the sounds and anything else, since this is like the fresh start of the streaming for us. Okay, so the Label Studio 1.5 is so-called dynamic labels. So why dynamic labels? The previous version is what we called as kind of just the labels, because there is no even the notion of dynamic labels. Why static one? But because sometimes we can just add the new class or use the pre-existing classes, and these classes are predefined on the initial level of project configuration. You first define the classes. Once they define it, then they can be used to draw the bounding boxes, or classify your text, or extract some entities from hypertextual documents, anything you might imagine that you get out of your annotation interface. But now, instead of using this as a predefined static classes that you define on the project configuration level, you might be able to completely remove that, and instead of saying that I want to have my labels defined at once, define them at each task level. So that's each individual task will contain exactly the labels you want to appear on the screen. And this label set shouldn't be necessary of the fixed size even. So sometimes you can pull up a label set of lengths 5, sometimes it could be hundreds, whatsoever. So the idea here is that instead of the initial static label set, you can define your dynamic label set, which can be changed over from task to task. And let me show you an example when it might be useful. So for example, let's consider that you want to build the new next generation search engine. The first thing you want to assess in your search engine is to how qualitative the results are. So how close the actual search results based on your query input. So you define your textual input, the textual data source, and per each individual input, you provide the list of like answers, say your search snippets. And the idea here is that you can select one of the or many snippets at once, and or you can even collapse something which is considered as a nested type of the labels. And these are actually the dynamic labels you use to annotate and to use to assign to your initial data sources. So once you submit the first task, then you can go to the next task, and you see here the number of examples now changed and consists just only one example and another, just basically 2 examples with different type of the appearance. So that's how you can work with the different, diverse, and varied size label set. Another good examples can be that some sort of a hypothesis selection. So for example, when you work with the audio files, you can be provided with the different answers from your machine predictions or transcription engine, where the task is to select which is like best suited to exactly what you hear on the audio screen. So that's also, sometimes you can work with a top 10 ranked, sometimes it's like top 5 ranked, depending on how confident your underlying transcription engine. So that's also kind of super easy way to define variable size and different type of the values, not predefined at one beforehand, but dynamically changing from task to task. For the text image to image generation, this is a kind of also the similar idea we follow here is but instead of like hypothesis consisted of the textual labels, we can use the image-based labels. So instead of displaying the text information instead of image, we can display the image itself and provide you with the ability to select different images as the final annotation results applying to some data input. And that actually also cover the second cool feature here is the appearance of the classifications or your labels. So because now you can not only use the textual labels, but you can also customize the appearance of the labels itself. So the actual value we're gonna assign to our data could be any low-level arbitrary textual string, but something you see on the screen can be defined by additional attributes specified within our dynamic label set. For example, hypertextual attributes or styling with CSS styles. You can also do more with these custom styles. You can, for example, consider inventory tracking use case where the idea is to annotate or segment the images of many goods on the shelf. So, but you don't have, and you don't need to deal with the exact titles of the goods, but you can just operate with the images that give you some hint about what exactly need to be annotated. And once selected, you can start drawing your annotations around object of interest. So this is also kind of like you can customize the appearances of any type of the labels, not only classification, not only choices, but also over textual spans, rectangle labels, segmentational labels, and any type of other label set you can find on our within our annotational tags or control tags. The last but not least, or also it's worth mentioning some very popular example of the genome, visual genome, so-called visual genome task, where the idea is to annotate the images, like the objects of the images, and relate them with different attributes and relationships, where you can also control these attributes, which are not predefined set of the static text, but could be taken, could be dependent on each individual image you are seeing here, and then you can just relate different parts of the images based on the titles of the labels, which are arbitrary now and could depend on each task. Yeah, and the last but not least update here in the 1.5 is the ability to add your own labels while annotating data. So when dealing with taxonomy tag, taxonomy component, you can always add new label, and once the label is added, you can now select the same label next time to annotate. But if you're decided, okay, now this label set is not enough for me to annotate, I can add another label and move on with this process. So that's how you can augment on the fly, how you can create the labels on the fly, and your label sets also considered to be dynamically, but now it's defined by the labelers, by annotators themselves while doing an annotation process. So these are just the three features, three main features that are related to release 1.5. And just to summarize them again, so ability to specify the dynamic labels, so that labels now can be specified on task levels and not as initial configuration levels. Then the ability to customize the appearances of of how the labels look like on the screen. They can be now images, hypertext, any arbitrary UI that you can put on top of the actual label values, and the ability to add the labels on the fly within taxonomy tags. So these are three cool features that's now available in Label Studio 1.5. But there are many, many more, and you can always check the change log. There are many not so prominent, but still very important updates and bug fixes related to security, performance that can help you to streamline and to make your annotation process better and more efficient.
Hi guys again. I would add. Oh, sorry, Lauren, I can't hear you. I would add that this release 1.5.0 has very long migrations. So if you have really huge projects with a lot of tasks, please be aware that the migration process will take too much time.
So if there are any other questions and you feel that, I mean, definitely the use cases here is not full enough. Maybe you think that there are something else you can think of might be applicable in this case, and maybe you're working or you're thoughts that you want to have these dynamic labels in your annotation logic, please let us know, and we can help you to configure the interface and help you to organize the workflow according to this dynamic feature. So it would be very interesting to know different use cases of this technology and how it can help you to work with your data set, annotate it faster. Okay, maybe I'm stopped sharing here.
Yes, I wanted to share. So we're looking for questions now. If anyone has questions, and I'm sharing one question here that's we've gotten quite a bit lately. To see if either one of you want to answer this one.
Okay, I see. So speaking of the roadmap, the video bbox labeling is, we consider a part of the next big update. So it's currently already available as a beta feature, not officially released, but anyone can give it a try if you want. So video bbox and video object detection and tracking is definitely something we're heading towards to cover all annotation use case, all scenarios and data types, since Label Studio is consider it as the flexible tool for all data types at once, and video tracking is definitely the part of the next release. So, I mean, stay in touch and you will get it very, very soon.
Sounds good. Well, if there's no other questions, I think we can wrap it there and celebrate the release. So thank y'all. Great. Thank you. We'll sign off now and see you all soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.